Pickens Jackson.
You ready?
Let's go!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now live in the Bank Plus studio, where college football meets the all lifestyle.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is
The Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds, streaming around the world live at the Out of Bounds radio app and on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
Where are you?
The Zone.
All right, the Out of Bounds Show, brought to you by Havana Smoke Shop for all your premium cigars. Havana Smoke Shop. 2 locations, Reservoir, I-55 North in Jackson. Breezy Oaks Ranch is in the house. Hit their website right now, breezyoaksranch.com. Order you some steaks, some Wagyu, some heritage pork, bacon, sausage. breezyoaksranch.com, Mississippi farmers. They'll be up here in about 20 minutes dropping some food. Looking forward to that. Out of Bounds 105.9 The Zone. We welcome in Steve Robertson, Hail State Insider, the Boneyard Podcast, genespage.com. Steve, does Will Rogers play this weekend against Vanderbilt?
Yeah, I certainly expect so. I think that is actually probably what Mississippi State will do. I really don't think there's a lot of concern, I guess, at this point that he won't play. I know there's a lot of rumors out there, but based on everything that I've heard, even as as early as Sunday, that the expectation would be that Will Rogers would play this Saturday.
Okay. All right. So, and if he doesn't play, it'll be Chance Lovertich?
Yeah, I think that's I think that's probably the most reasonable expectations. I mean, Levertich, while Will was the guy all throughout fall camp, Levertich got out there and really competed. I mean, I said that he pushed Will. I really don't know that there was an opportunity, I guess, for Levertich to take the job, but I think that he gives Mississippi State the best chance to win should Will be unable to play. And this is a guy, too, that's got Division I starting experience under his belt. I mean, it's not like Levertich is just, some walk-on that's the son of a donor. I mean, it's just a guy that has gone and played and actually went out there and beat Southern Miss in a football game before. I mean, so it's not like that, you bring a guy like him into the ball game and it's just a completely new experience.
I think the one thing that may be working against him a little bit is had they blown out La Tech, Lovertich may have played the last 5, 6, 7 minutes of the game and actually gotten some real reps, Steve, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing that's been really an issue for State this year is that that they haven't had those laugher-type moments where State's been able to put a ball game away because other than getting blown out against Alabama, all these games have been tightly contested and you just really hadn't been able to get reps for other guys. And so, yeah, I think that is a bit of an issue. And but at the end of the day, too, I think Will. I don't think Will's going to be 100%, but I think Will, even at probably 85, 90%, is your best chance to win a football game.
Oh, no doubt. If he can get to that, then yes, without a doubt. So wide receivers. I mean, what's going on with the group? I know they've had moments where they played well, and then they've had moments where there's been too many drops. What are you seeing from the wide receiver group, Steve?
Well, much as you described. I mean, I really thought at A&M, I thought they played about as well as they could play. I mean, there's always, one or two exceptions to every rule, of course. But, against Alabama, I thought they took a big step backwards. And probably the worst they played, maybe since even Louisiana Tech. I mean, that's the thing is you kind of work through all this and you think, okay, hey, we finally got some things figured out. We know where to settle in the zone. We know how to uncover. We're catching the football. We're blocking on the perimeter for everybody else like they did at A&M. Well, you go win a football game. And I guess I stopped counting at 4 drops against Alabama, but it wasn't just the drops. I mean, it's just there were times the guys just simply didn't uncover. Mike Leach said on Monday they were inventing routes, basically just kind of panicking them based on what they saw from Alabama and just didn't do their job. And so I expect to see a return to form this week against Vanderbilt. I think in many respects those guys were a little bit embarrassed last week, and we had Austin Williams at media last night, and Austin said this week it's been about getting back, to their identity and kind of getting back to basics and the fundamentals of this offense. So I expect a better game this week. But at the end of the day, Bo, let's be honest. I mean, this is a relatively young team that I thought that just kind of folded in the moment against Alabama and got caught up playing the helmet sticker instead of the team.
Yeah, I was surprised at some of the effort, too. Steve Robertson, Boneyard Podcast, genespage.com, 247 Sports. Steve joins us on the Modelo guest line this morning as Mississippi State will travel to Nashville. That's a 3 o'clock kick in Nashville at Commodore Stadium. Let's go to the defensive side of the football. I'm blown away that that side of the football doesn't have a star. That's just so un-Mississippi State-like. But we don't have enough time to go through all that. What are you seeing, Steve? I mean, what do they need to do to play well down the stretch, and who needs to step up and lead the way?
Well, I think it's got to be the front. That's the thing. We knew that they should be pretty athletic at linebacker, and they have been. Nathaniel Watson's played really well. Jed Johnson has exceeded expectations. Those guys are playing well. You feel pretty good about your corners. At safeties, it's kind of a bit of a, it's a mixed bag out there. Some days they're good and some days they're not. But, I think up front, it all starts right there. I thought Jaden Crumedy had some good moments earlier in the season. I think Cam Young has been pretty good at times, and Zach Arnett told us last week he's been the most consistent of the interior guys. But I think it's defensive end. I think looking at the defensive end position, we were a little bit concerned about that coming into the year, and that's the reason you go get Randy Charlton as a transfer to kind of shore up that position there. But I just don't think they have been as dominant as they should have been, really kind of setting the tone. That's where things have to change, in my opinion.
What about Russell?
You can't.
Do you think he could emerge as a guy that you're right? I mean, they're talent deficient at the edge rushing position and really haven't been for about 12 or 13 years. Obviously, Dan and Tony Hughes and that group, David Turner and others did a good job rolling through some dudes. Can Russell emerge at some point as a guy who's dangerous on the defense, Steve?
Yeah, you certainly hope so. And I'm surprised he hadn't played more. He got in the game, played a little bit last week, but he's been relatively, quiet this year, mostly been playing on special teams, and he's a guy that has all the physical ability. So not exactly sure why it hadn't clicked for him yet. Still believe that it can happen for him, but I think Randy Charlton and those guys are defensive end, but they have got to find a way to get pressure on quarterbacks without Zach Arnett having to send 5 or 6 players, and that's where things kind of break down, and that's what happened against Alabama is, you got to give Bryce a lot of credit, man. When State brought the heat, he saw it.
No doubt.
He was able to make throws. I knew the kid was great. He was better than I expected, though.
Yeah.
I really thought Zach Arnett tried to confuse him, and the kid answered the challenge for sure.
He did. He was poised in the pocket for sure. Out of bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Steve, I've got a minute here. It looks like Woody Marks is getting better. It may not be jumping out in the game, but the running back out of Atlanta looks like he's only going to get better. I think Dylan Johnson has a heck of a future. He just can't get healthy. What do you see at the running back position, Steve?
Yeah, I agree 100% with those assessments. And I do think Woody Marks is the more explosive of the two. DJ, that big blue-collar guy that can kind of move the pile a little bit on the interior running game. But yeah, I think Marks is the most explosive guy in many respects on offense. I think he can be the star of this scheme. He's got to find a way to get in the ball in space a little bit more. And I think they've made some adjustments, instead of just checking everything down out there, they've kind of altered that route a little bit, and that's enabled him to kind of hit the hole a little bit harder. But he could be the difference in a 6-6, 7-5 type year.
Yeah.
They're good.
Steve Robertson on the Out of Bounds Show. Steve, give us the website for your national championship baseball book, Dogpile.
Thank you very much. It's dogpilethebook.com, and all pre-orders will be signed and personalized at your request.
Dogpilethebook.com. Steve's about to go on another tour. Dogpilethebook.com. Steve will be in Nashville this weekend. He gets to watch Mississippi State and then Jeffrey Simmons on Sunday. Thanks, Steve. The Boneyard Podcast, 247 Sports, genespage.com. Steve joined us on the Modelo guest line on a Wings Wednesday, brought to you by Sal and Mookie's in Madison, Sal and Mookie's in Jackson. Great wings. BreezyOaksRanch.com is in the house. Food and beverage on the way.